Hey everyone, today we're in Lebanon, New Hampshire, checking out the Mascoma bike trail, which they're building. Coming up about a mile ahead, it becomes abandoned train tracks where they haven't built yet. And there's 2 abandoned train trestles that we know of that we're gonna go check out. It just rained a lot yesterday and we just walked on this scenic trail. It just goes here and loops back to the trail after a few hundred yards or so. Extremely stinky trail because yesterday it rained a lot. You see the water, how it's discolored just from erosion. But during high levels of rain, they have combined sewage, which means it becomes overwhelmed and starts dumping raw sewage untreated into the river. It smells really bad. This pond right here reeks of raw sewage. Got a sewer right here. Somehow it's probably leaking into here. It's got that weird tint to it. It shouldn't have that weird tint to it. Whole area smells like sewage. Quite nasty. Now we're gonna walk down, take a look at the abandoned bridges. Briefly walking off the bike trail. What do we have here? This looks pretty cool. Look at this. Still got some remaining train tracks that would have came down here, splitting into the main line. What this looks like to me is a filling station for steam trains, right? For maybe water. Let me walk underneath some trees. Ooh. Oh. Right here. Looks like maybe to fill up steam trains with water. Maybe fuel. What do you guys think? Are these fuel lines, water lines, maybe both to get on top of the train and fill it up with water? I'm about to go up here and see. Look, there's a dead end. Don't know if it went further. It looks like they may have pushed a bunch of ground and compost down here onto the tracks. But I'm about to walk up here on top and see what there is. It's pretty rotten, but interesting. Got these lines right here going up to what? Yeah, the pipes are cut off. They no longer do anything. Look at the stairs. There's old stairs right here made out of cinder blocks walking down to this. I was looking at that. It's a gigantic propane tank. Still pretty stable, but I'm not going to go all the way out on this platform. What's the undercarriage of this look like? Just pieces of wood? Now that's going to be there forever. Solid metal. This thing will be sitting here forever. But the platform will probably fall down pretty soon. After looking at it for a little while, I think it's more than likely water for filling up the top of the steam train. It could also be possible that they were filling the steam train with diesel to be burned. If they had a canopy up there at one point to keep the workers dry out of the rain. It's pretty cool that this is still standing. Check out this old railway culvert. Super thick iron pipe. It'll basically last forever. It's the newer embankment built around it that's gonna fail. Take a look at the erosion from that angle coming in. Coming up to a old wooden bridge right above the train tracks. A little rotted out. Oh, this is kind of cool to throw the water over to the sides. Otherwise it would erode down there. And yeah, it's abandoned. Still seems pretty stable, but it's abandoned. Right above the bike trail. Now we're about to go down here and start our journey into the abandoned section. Underneath this old bridge, look at those supports. All covered in creosote, looking perfect. Look at the beams up there. The other side looked a bit rotten, but you can see under here, it's nowhere close to failure. That's so strong. Could definitely still drive a car across this, or even a big truck. And here's the other end of the loop I mentioned at the beginning. You can smell sewage around here. Really nice strong sign that no one can steal. Because down here you can see in a moment someone stole the metal roofing off that. Now this is where the train tracks used to go through. It's so nice that they kept the old bridge, although you can't see anything unless you're really tall. That's the Mascoma River. Got a bunch of spiders too. Yep. Spider nests. See a little bee's nest. This bridge right above us is in perfect condition. You can see this here. Someone stole the metal roofing off it. Here's a small abandoned shack I want to check out. Has a small retaining wall of train ties. Possibly asbestos right here. Can't really see inside, can we? Nope, there's no going in there. Unless you came out here with a star bit. What do we got? Still pretty cool. This little shack is still here. Disconnected from the electrical power right here. Pretty cool. Got a little chimney. Got a low head dam, which are super dangerous. If you were swimming here, you would spin and spin. That's why they're banned these days. Must have something to do with this little building. This is an awesome place. Like if you were kayaking here and you went over this, there's a good chance you'd be trapped and drowned right there. Low head dams can be pretty dangerous. And there's also a environmental danger right here waiting against this small shack. Look at this. Got a small oil tank here. It's an old one. Back then they were built thicker, but still, there's a good chance it's leaking oil into this river. Because even if it's empty, there's always residue in here. It may not be substantial, probably not even enough to cause damage, but yeah, that thing is empty. But there's always sludge, nasty petroleum sludge. Can't get it out of those tanks. You gotta cut it open, clean it out. They obviously didn't do that. Look at all the beautiful grapevines. Nice square tiles on this roof. A really neat place. Now this becomes a road that's about to turn and cross the abandoned train tracks I'll show in just a moment. Now that the rail starts, this is where the adventure starts. And here we come up to where that little trail crosses and then goes out to the street. But we're gonna keep following this train track into the forest. Right here we have a sign that says 2 miles to White River Junction. And on the other side, I believe that means Boston. And we've reached the end where it comes out to the street. You either gotta walk on the street or the trail to the abandoned trestles. is right here. It's a bit overgrown. Along the tracks, there's a bunch of AT&T buried cable flags. Not sure if that was put here because they plan on digging this up and they mark their line so it doesn't get hit, or maybe AT&T plans on ripping down all these trees to service that cable. We've reached the first train bridge. The pieces of rail in the middle are in case, for some reason, the train was to fall off the tracks. This would catch the wheel flange so that it doesn't fall off the bridge. These look like pretty modern tracks. I'm gonna find a date, or at least try to find a date later. So you see, if the train was to fall either way, the wheel flange would get stuck in this, between the two rails, so the train wouldn't fall off the bridge. It looks like we might even have a date right here. 1941. Now this bridge is in pretty great condition because of all the creosote. Look at it. It looks like a bridge that would still be in service today. A little scary when you look down. That's why it's best not to look down. Could easily twist an ankle or break something if you fell down in these holes. This bridge is in awesome condition. Really nice. Would not trust stepping out on here. That's in case the train came when you were out here. You could step off to the side and not get killed or have to jump. Just had a storm yesterday. The Mascoma River is running a little more than usual. And now, about to go into the woods again to another train trestle. That must be AT&T's pipeline, like they fish their cable through that pipe. Beautiful exploring these abandoned bridges before they're torn down. Or they're not going to tear them down, but they're going to remove the tracks most likely and put a wood deck so you can walk across them. Now we're back into the forest. Coming up to the next train bridge. This one's not scary like the other one. You can't see through it because this one is built as a concrete deck and the tracks are built on top of ballast. A little bit more rotted here, these ties, because they're not freestanding in the air where they can dry. Quite a few trees out on this bridge. This bridge is pretty high up. The Mascoma River is wrapping back and forth. Got a beautiful dam here. Got a pipeline leaving. There's the pipeline on the other side. You see that barbed wire fence? Totally pointless because up against the foundation, there's a hole big enough I could easily squeeze through that. And obviously other people have too, because all the graffiti on the other side of the fence. Now we're about to re-enter the forest. But then suddenly it opens up a ton. Like for a while, they might have been using this as a siding, or a branch line, I should say, to back trains onto, just for storage, just to park them. Most likely this used to say no trespassing, but it doesn't say anything anymore. Coming up to another bridge with traffic under it. Coming up to another bridge. This bridge is pretty cool. Got to take a look at it. People have to yield on both sides of it because it's so small. Check it out. And this is probably AT&T stuff. Got some sort of old pipeline here that's collapsing and falling off the brackets. Now the track in this area looks a bit shiny. Like I said back there, it looks like this part they may actually back a train down for storage. It looks like something rides here occasionally. And right here, there may have been some kind of signal tower or electrical shed, something to do with the train company. Let's check out this cool valve and whatever going right here to that little shack across the tracks. And this continues for quite a while, the new pipeline. Right next to the tracks, there's a whole bunch of fuel oil sitting in these tanks and a bunch of Irving trucks going back and forth. Surprised they don't use the train to bring their product. So look, you got the hookups for it. It looks like the train used to bring them their fuel oil and other stuff to these big tanks. All right, everyone, we're gonna end the video here. I just got on Google Maps, and this up here eventually is going to run into a main line which crosses the Connecticut River on a 2-track bridge. So we're not gonna go walking on the main line. Like I said, it's very possible they back stuff up here because it looks like occasionally something runs on these tracks just for storage or parking. Yep, because if we were to walk another mile, it would open up into a giant yard, and I'm sure they don't want anyone there. So I hope this video was interesting. Thanks for watching.